ASD Advanced School of Driving Combination Permit Study. Combination. The best way to tell if your trailer has started to skid is to see it in your mirrors. You have pushed in the trailer supply valve. You should not move the tractor until the whole air system is A. At normal pressure. Which part of the kingpin should the locking jaws close around? The answer is B. The shank. Under good driving conditions, you should leave at least 1 second of space between your vehicle and the vehicle ahead for every blank feet of your vehicle's length. The answer is C, for every 10 feet. Which of these vehicles off-track the most? C, a 5-axle tractor towing a 52-foot trailer. This is the longest trailer out of all the answers they gave you. Here's a short video to help you understand that. Notice where the tractor's turning at and the trailer's at. This is why it's very important to maintain your visual on the mirrors to make sure you're not hitting anything. A tractor with a blank trailer requires the shortest stopping distance. The answer is B, fully loaded. The weight helps assist with traction. A trailer is most likely to jackknife when it is A, empty. When checking that the trailer is securely coupled to the tractor, the landing gear should be C, it should be slightly raised. If you have coupled with a semi-trailer, where should the front trailer supports be before driving away? C, should be fully raised with the crank handle secured in its bracket. Compared to a straight truck or bus, there are blank things to inspect on a combination vehicle. There are more things. You want to inspect the trailer supports. You should place the tractor transmission in which gear after you have uncoupled the trailer. The answer is C. The vehicle should be in neutral. There are 2 types of things that can prevent a rollover. They are 1. Keep your cargo as close to the ground as possible, and 2. Go slow around the turns. The 5th wheel locking lever is not locked after the jaws close around the kingpin. This means that means that the coupling is not right and should be fixed before driving the coupled unit. Failure to do this could be a big deal. Here's a video to show you that. When you are uncoupling a loaded trailer, lower the landing gear unit until it B. Makes firm contact with the ground. The front trailer supports are up and the trailer is resting on the tractor. Make sure there is enough clearance between the tractor frame and the landing gear. Glad hands are used to connect the C. Service and emergency air lines from the truck to the trailer. Here's a picture of what that could look like. How much space should be between the upper and lower fifth wheel after coupling? The answer is B. There should be no space between the apron and the fifth wheel. You should not back a tractor under a trailer until the whole air system is A. At normal pressure. You are coupling a semi-trailer to your tractor but have not backed under it. The trailer is at the right height when B. It is raised slightly when the tractor is backed under it. When checking the trailer emergency brakes, the tractor protection control valve should be placed in the A. It should be in the emergency position. Which statement is true? B. Bobtail tractors can take longer to stop than a combination vehicle when it is loaded. In general, the higher your truck's center of gravity, the A. Easier it is to turn over. This vehicle here has a very high center of gravity. All he does is bumps a rail on the side, and you can see exactly what happens here. You are coupling a tractor to a semi-trailer. You have backed up but are not under it. What should you hook up before backing under the semi-trailer? The answer is C, the emergency and service airlines. Air and electric lines from the tractor to the trailer should be A. Secured but with enough slack for turns. If you cannot make a turn without entering another traffic lane, you should The answer is C. Turn wide as you complete your turn. When should you use the CHOCKS to park a trailer not equipped with air brakes? The answer is A. Always. Here's a picture to show you what CHOCKS are. When coupling, the proper position of the fifth wheel is A. Tilted down towards the tractor. To stop a trailer skid, you should C. Release the brake. Here's a video of a very close call. After you lock the kingpin into the fifth wheel, you should check the connection by pulling A. The tractor ahead gently with the trailer brakes locked. Here's what could happen to you if you were not locked. You could even go down the road for quite a ways without it coming disconnected. You are uncoupling a trailer. After you shut off the trailer air supply and lock the trailer brakes, you should B. Back up gently to ease pressure on the fifth wheel locking jaws. To unlock the fifth wheel, pull the release handle to the open position. For a coupling to be completed, the safety catch for the fifth wheel locking lever must be B. Over the locking lever. Before you back a truck under a trailer, make sure the C. Trailer brakes are locked. After you connect the air lines, but before you back under the trailer, you should C. Supply air to the trailer system, then pull out the air supply knob. Why should you be sure that the fifth wheel plate is greased as required? A. To prevent steering problems. After the trailer has been coupled to the tractor protection valve should be placed in the normal position. After you have coupled the trailer, you should begin raising the landing gear by using the B. Low gear. When backing a tractor under a trailer, you should C. Always use the lowest reverse gear. Why should you lock the airline glad hands to each other, or dummy couplers, when you are not towing a trailer? A. It will keep water out of the lines. When you get ready to back under a semi-trailer, you should line up C. Directly in front of the trailer. After you supply air to the trailer, make sure the air lines are not crossed and the trailer brakes are working. You do this by A. Applying, releasing the trailer brakes and listening for brake sounds. Air brakes permit study. Next test. The driver must be able to see a warning before air pressure in the service air tanks fall below (55 psi). To check the brake slack on the S-cam brakes, you should park on A. Level ground. Chock the wheel and release the parking brakes. The air brake system for a straight truck or bus should not leak at the rate of more than blank psi per minute with the engine off and the brakes released. The answer is B. The air loss rate for a straight truck or bus with the engine off and the brake on should not be more than A. 3 psi in 1 minute. If your vehicle has an alcohol evaporator, it is there to B. Reduce the risk of ice in air brake valves in cold weather. How should you check that your service brakes are working properly? C. Wait for normal air pressure, release the parking brake, move the truck forward slowly, and apply the brakes firmly using the brake pedal. The air supply pressure gauge shows how much pressure B is in the air tanks. Why should you drain water from compressed air tanks? The answer is C. Water can freeze in cold weather and cause brake failure. The safety valve is set to automatically reduce air pressure at The answer is A, 150 psi. 10. If air pressure does not build up fast enough within the correct amount of time, your air pressure may drop too low during driving. How should you check that the spring brakes come on when air pressure in the system drops below a certain level? Answer C. Park on level ground, chock the wheels, release the parking brake. For air brake systems in good condition, the air compressor should start pumping at about A. 100 psi. To test air service brakes, you should A. Brake firmly when moving forward. If you do not have an automatic tank drains, how often should you drain the oil and water from the bottom of the compressed air storage to air tanks? C. At the end of each day of driving. Next section, knowledge of air brakes. When you apply the brakes, the brake shoes linings are pressed against the C. The brake drum. With air brake vehicles, the parking brakes should be used B. Whenever you leave the vehicle unattended. All air brake vehicles have an air supply pressure gauge. The parking or emergency brake on a heavy vehicle can only be held in position by something that cannot leak away, like spring pressure. The parking or emergency brakes of trucks and buses can be legally held on by B. Spring pressure. Modern air brake systems are three different systems combined together. They are the service, parking, and the emergency brakes. The stoplight switch turns on the brake lights to warn drivers behind you. If your truck has dual air brake systems and one of the systems is low on pressure, either the front or rear brakes will not be fully operational. The braking power of the spring brakes depends on the service brakes being in adjustment. The application pressure gauge shows how much air pressure you A. Are applying to the brakes. Before driving a truck or bus with a dual air brake system, the pressure on each system should be at least 100 psi. If your truck or bus has dual parking control valves, you can use pressure from a separate tank to A. Release the spring emergency/parking brakes to move a short distance. The brake pedal in an air brake system controls the air pressure applied to put on the brakes. What is the first thing you should do when a low air pressure warning comes on? B. Stop and safely park as soon as possible. The S-cam forces the brake shoes against the inside of the brake drum. Here's a picture of what an S-cam looks like. When is it okay to leave your truck unattended without applying the parking brake or chocking the wheels? The answer is C, never. Here's a video of a guy who actually went in the back to fall asleep and didn't set his brakes. In air brake vehicles, the parking brakes should be used. A. Anytime the vehicle is parked. The modulating control valve allows you to control the C. Spring brakes. The brake system that applies and releases the brakes when the driver uses the brake pedal is the service brake system. Some air brake systems have an alcohol evaporator. What may happen if you don't keep the unit filled with alcohol? C. Ice may form in the air storage tanks and cause the brakes to fail. Under normal conditions, to engage the parking brake, the driver must first C. Let the air out of the spring brakes. During normal driving, spring brakes are usually held back by A. Air pressure. If your vehicle has an alcohol evaporator, every day during cold weather you should B. Check and fill the alcohol level. The most common type of foundation brake found on a heavy vehicle is the C. S-cam drum. A supply pressure gauge tells you how much pressure is in the B. Air tanks. The air compressor governor controls and controls when air is pumped into the air storage tanks. It is not safe to drive a vehicle that has brake drums or discs with cracks or that are thinner than manufacturer specifications. Generally, this will be C. 1/4 of an inch. Your truck or bus has dual air brake systems. If a low air pressure warning comes on for only one system, what should you do? A. Stop and safely park. Continue only after the system is fixed. Your truck has a properly functioning dual air brake system and minimum size air tanks. The air pressure should build from 85 to 100 psi within B. 45 seconds. If the spring brakes are on, when should you push the brake pedal? A. Never. Driving and braking. A truck with air brakes going 55 miles per hour would require a stopping distance of B. More than 300 feet. The spring brakes used on tractors and straight trucks will bring your truck to a stop when the air pressure drops below 20 psi. The air brake lag distance at 55 miles per hour on dry pavement adds about blank feet to your stopping distance. About 32 feet. Excessive heat in the brakes can cause the A. Brakes to fade or fail. This guy's brakes probably failed at some point. You are on a steep downgrade, and you have reached your safe speed of 40 miles per hour. You would apply the service brakes until the speed drops to blank miles per hour. A. 35. Air braking takes more time than hydraulic braking because air C. Takes more time to flow through the lines than hydraulic fluid. Total stopping distance for vehicles with air brakes is longer than that for vehicles with hydraulic brakes due to the B. Brake lag distance. The use of air brakes on a downgrade is only a supplement to the A. Braking effect of the engine. That's why it's very important to downshift before going down a downgrade. The proper method of braking when going down long and or steep grades after selecting the proper gear is to brake until your speed is about blank miles per hour below your safe speed. Then release your brakes. The answer is C, 5 miles per hour. Which of these is not a proper time to apply the parking brakes? B, when your brakes are very hot. You should know your brakes are fading when A, you have to push the brake pedal harder to control speed on a downgrade. What is emergency stab braking? B, brake hard, release the brakes when the wheels lock, and reapply the brakes when the wheels start rolling. The most important thing to do when a low air pressure warning comes on is C, stop and safely park as soon as possible. If you must make an emergency stop, brake so you A, can steer and your vehicle stays in a straight line. Here's a video of a trucker who made a very good save here. Repeatedly pressing and releasing, or fanning, the brake pedal may result in C, the loss of brake air pressure. Emergency controlled braking is when you B, apply the brakes as hard as you can without locking up the wheels.